日本時間16日、エンゼルスのロン・ワシントン新監督が就任会見を行い、その中で FA となっている大谷翔平投手について、
どうしても戻ってきてほしい
とラブコールを送っています。ワシントン新監督は、
翔平、大谷を欲しくない人なんているのか。 FA のプロセスを待たないといけない。どうなるか見守ろう。でも彼を欲しくないチームなんてない
と再契約を願っていました。15日には、大谷がクオリファイングオファー QO を拒否したことがメジャーリーグ選手会から発表され、メジャー史上最高額となる5億ドル、約750億円を超える争奪戦が予想されており、エンゼルスも引き続き再契約の交渉をすることが可能となっています。そんな中、MLB 専門局、MLB ネットワークの番組、インテンショナルトークでは、大谷の短期契約の可能性について議論し、その中で、アメリカの女性スポーツキャスター、シエラ・サントス氏が突然、大谷が2週間で稼ぐお金について計算し始め、
もし私の口座にこんな大金のお給料が振り込まれたら、
と、出演者の笑いを誘っていましたので、日本語字幕付きでご紹介していきます。
There are some rumors floating around Major League Baseball, and rumor has it, ESPN.com's Alden Gonzalez said people familiar with Shohei Ohtani's thinking believe he might be open to a short-term deal with an exceedingly high AAV. Dem, with Ohtani potentially not returning as a full-time pitcher and hitter until 2025, are you buying into this rumor?
Yeah, I am if it's short enough and high enough value. Like, what is that? Like, this is crazy. Like,
what is it?
First of all, we're dealing. I'm going to say 3 years, 150. So a 3-year deal at $50 million a year, which would be roughly what, 8 to 10 million over the current highest value, Verlander and Scherzer at 42. So
yeah,
I think that's the only way you can go that short term and then that big of a value. And for Ohtani, it still leaves himself open 3 years from now, where he's young enough that he can still get that 8-year deal that he might get after that. So I think he's looking to change the market when it comes to AAV, and I think he's going to. And we saw that with Trevor Bauer and the Dodgers years ago when they went to that 3-year deal at a massive value. I think you might see that out of him. Some team try and swoop in, whether that's 3 or 4 years, 50 to 55 million a year.
Crazy. $50 million a year. It's so crazy because, like, I think about it in terms of direct deposits. You know how we get our paychecks every 2 weeks? And yeah. I just did the math. So if he were to get $50 million, I know he's got to pay agent taxes. He's got to pay all that. But, like, let's just say, for all intents and purposes, that's $1.9 million every 2 weeks in your direct deposit.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I remember when Manny Ramirez was getting $1 million every 2 weeks when we were with the Red Sox at like $25 million a year. My point is this, though. It's the most intriguing situation that we're going to see in the offseason, because I would understand the 50 to 55 a year for Ohtani, for the offensive scene, because of the stolen bases, the 44 home runs, 135 games this year. If he played another 20, who knows, it's 50 and 30. My point is, so talented. But then you throw in the pitching side of it. That's what makes him. Well, how do you start? If he was healthy pitching-wise, that number would start with a 6. Is that a 10-year, $600 million? Who knows? But now you're looking at a complete year off of pitching. He's only going to hit. He'll be ready to hit. Do you do an incentive-based type situation where, okay, if it's not a short-term annual value, high, whatever it is, now do you go the 3 years, 150, Ryan, and then throw on another, whatever it would be, 6 years with some incentives? If he made 20 plus starts, now does that go up to 20 plus million a year on top of that 50? And now you're looking at 70. There's so many things to get creative here. Mm-hmm. He's an unbelievable player. And I don't know if you're in the short year. I remember when Bryce Harper got a 3-year offer for $120 million with the Dodgers, and it was $40 million a year back then before he signed a 13-year deal with the Phillies. And you're like, oh my God, he's from Vegas, West Coast dude. Bet on yourself. 3 years, play for $40 million a year. You're playing for the Dodgers, see if you can win a World Series, and then you'll go again. He chose the long-term guaranteed deal for Philly. Shocked a lot of people, and he loves it in Philly. Now look at what they're doing. So this can go either way, but short-term, maybe at that 50-55. I agree with you, Dempsey, that 150, 160, 165. We'll see what happens, and now you put more teams involved.
Yeah, and I think, too, you're going to see, just like him being kind of a unicorn in this game, you're going to see a unicorn-type contract, something we've never seen before. It might be short-term with options. It might be a long-term deal with multiple opt-outs and incentive-laden, right? Because we sit here and say that he's going to be pitching in 2025. Do we know that? Does he know that? We don't know. He had an experimental elbow surgery that nobody's heard of. We don't really know many details about it. So I think we're going to see something extremely unique, dollars that don't make sense, but this is a player that's doing something that nobody else in the game is doing.
And this is something that's completely different than what we were thinking about before as far as the years and how much money he was going to get. So completely flipping the game once again on its head.
また、大谷翔平マニアとして全米の野球ファンに知られる FOX スポーツでアナリストを務めるベン・バーランダー氏のポッドキャスト番組フリッピンバッツではアメリカンリーグの MVP についての議論になり、大谷翔平、コーリー・シーガー、マーカス・サイモンを比較し、
満場一致で大谷翔平が2度目の MVP を獲得する
とバーランダー氏が断言していましたので、こちらも日本語字幕付きでご紹介していきます。
With the big dogs, we're starting with the MVPs, the American League MVPs. We have Shohei Ohtani, Corey Seager, and Marcus Semien.
Alex.
Yep.
So this one, this is the easiest decision of them all for me. Shohei Ohtani is going to win the MVP award. We're a couple days away from him winning his second MVP award. He hit .304 this season, 44 homers, a 1066 OPS, also a 3.14 ERA with 167 strikeouts. This was going to be the greatest season that we have ever seen. And I believe that would have topped his 2021 season, which I think was the greatest season we've ever seen. And he won the Cy Young Award, or won the MVP award. Last year, fantastic season. Ended up losing out on MVP only to Aaron Judge doing what he did. Now this year, was on pace before the injury. He missed about 30 games at the end of the year, got surgery, missed the end of the year. But this was on pace to be the greatest season we've ever seen. An OPS over 1,000, a batting average over 300, an ERA right around 3, 167 strikeouts. That's unheard of. Quite literally unheard of. Now, some of these other players, I do believe Corey Seager had... This is why I think the argument is an easy one. Mm-hmm. For Corey Seager, who I also believe, if he had put up the numbers he did over the course of a full season... Well, it could have been his award with Shohei being injured. Yeah. But they both missed a good chunk of time.
Yeah, they did.
Corey Seager did hit .327 on the year with 33 homers, 96 RBIs, and also an OPS over 1,000. But again, injuries there. I do think they're going to come in first and second, but I just don't foresee a world in which Shohei Ohtani isn't winning his second ever MVP award. What a season. Pumped up for him. You know how pumped I am, Alex. This is great.
Well, the question is then, can he go unanimous again?
Yes.
Shohei Ohtani. You think he is?
I think it's unanimous again. I do. Solely because the second place guy missed a large chunk of the season as well. So you can't... The argument, which I could understand, of, well, he didn't play the last month of the season, so, Corey Seager gets the nod for playing all season long.
Yeah.
Well, that argument doesn't exist anymore because the guy that is going to come in second, Corey Seager, also didn't play all year long. So if you're going to make the argument of games played, well, that's not checking Corey Seager's box either. So I think Shohei's going to be unanimous, and I think it'll be his second unanimous, and 2021 was as well.
メジャー史上最高額となる5億ドル、約750億円を超える争奪戦が予想されている大谷の FA 去就。ドジャースやジャイアンツなど複数球団が参戦するとみられ、エンゼルスも引き続き再契約の交渉をすることも可能となっています。これからも大谷の活躍から目が離せません。皆様からのコメントもお待ちしております。